Everything okay? Done? Really? What was my name?
Yeah, I know.
No.
What was it?
Está-me a enviar este segundo. Assim que eu tiver, eu vou.
Is there a way that he can do it that people can't record the live stream? Okay? It's working. But is there a way that keep my phone, share this with Masood, and my question is there a way that you can block this and people can't record?
People can't record.
Okay, so then share the link with Masood and this will go out to over 26,000 people.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our cherry on the top and enjoy breathtaking presentation from Dr. Miguel Stanley.
I don't know if my microphone's working. Let's see if I have to turn it on first. You help me here? Oh, here we go. All right, that's perfect. Wow. I don't know about you, but I've had a busy day. You've probably seen me on my phone all day and on my computer all day. Well, first of all, it's a really good crowd. I've had an opportunity to talk to a lot of you over the course of the day and also interview some of you. Some of you I know, some of you I don't. We're getting to know that. How many people is the first time you've ever met? So still good. So you guys are here for some fun. I first met and fell in love with IADS in Tunisia about, was it 3 years ago? 2 years ago. And I was fascinated. I'd never heard of this, and because when I graduated, it didn't really exist. So, well, it did exist, but I'd never heard of it. And I just think what you guys do is fabulous. But the same thing is you guys live in a completely different world today than the one that existed when I started being a dentist. So in 1998, Facebook, even social media didn't exist. And I think it's incredible how social media has changed dentistry. Right now, hopefully, we're being live streamed through Dentipro, through my friend Masood in Palestine. Have you heard of Dentipro, the Facebook page? Okay, so a big shout out to everybody in the world. Thank you, Masood and Dentipro. All right. So, this lecture today is fun. I hope everybody can have something from this, and it was specially designed for people your age. And I'm just going to get straight into it. I'd like to thank the organization. I'd like to thank Magdalena, who's been one of my strongest supporters since the beginning. And of course, give a big shout out to the new president, Malek. I think you guys are doing a great job. So, can we dim the lights and let's get started? All right. So, first of all, one of the questions that everybody asks me is, how do I do it? How do I do it? And this is the big question. So first of all, you have to ask, who am I? To be a dentist, who am I? Why am I here? Why are we doing what we're doing? Because I know that IADS has a very strong commitment to education, to the experience, to exchange, and so people can understand what is going on and not feeling so alone in the world of dentistry. But what did you want to do as a kid? I mean, how many people here wanted to be a dentist growing up? That's about 10%. How many people wanted to be a fireman? I wanted to be a fireman. I'm putting out fires every day. How many people here wanted to be an engineer? A few people. How many people wanted to be an artist? An artist back there. Designers. Okay, psychologists.
I want to be a president.
You want to be a president? Well, I'm going to prove to you today that dentistry has all of those things. We are, guys, please, we're being live streamed to the world. We have a profession that allows us to do all of these things. And throughout the course of this hour, I will prove to you that dentistry is one of the most fascinating professions that you could ever have chosen. It's one of the most important professions, I believe, in modern society. I think that we don't get the respect that we deserve from society. I think there's a lot of that. There's a lot of reasons behind that. Like if you go to the Louvre in Paris, you don't see teeth. There's no paintings of teeth. And people in general, like, oh, you're just a dentist, you're not a real doctor. And I'm going to prove to you that it's so much more incredible being a dentist than you could possibly imagine. So those of you that wanted to become a dentist, what kind of dentist did you want to be? Did you want to be the scary dentist, or did you want to be the awesome superhero dentist? And the truth is that I don't believe there's a dentist in the world that wakes up and goes to work and decides to ruin somebody's mouth. Now, you know that social media has really helped us connect with other dentistry around the world, and what we're seeing is a rise of really bad dentistry. All right, I don't know if you know this, but there's a lot of bad dentistry happening around the world. 97% of the work that we've been developing in my clinic is redoing bad dentistry. So there's a whole new type of patient that I'm sure that you guys in university are not even learning, which is people that have had bad implants done, people that have had bad restorations done, people that have had bad treatments done, and you're not really equipped to deal with that. And I think that that's a whole new world of dentistry coming in the future. So in order to tackle this incredible business, which is dentistry, you have to try and figure out what side of the fence do you want to be on. Because I didn't know when I graduated what kind of dentist I want to be. Now, somebody today said, what should I study to try and find success? And should I do orthodontics? Should I do periodontics? Should I do endodontics? And the truth is, you guys, I'm going to ask you to please respect me. Okay, thank you. I came a long way for free to be here today. Please respect my brain process. Thank you. So, you have to figure out what kind of dentist you want to be. So very importantly is, and I don't think anybody's even thinking about this, as a dentist, you get to do something as simple as an oral hygiene, or on the other scope of the things, you get to do bone regeneration, membranes, titanium meshes, IPRF, rebuild the bone, the soft tissue, place implants, do full mouth oral rehabilitation with a degree of complexity that you have to be an engineer, biomechanics, physicist. You have to understand all these things. And you know what? That's just a dentist. So you get to do the very simple stuff to the very complicated stuff, and the only person who decides which kind of dentist you want to be is you. All right? And the only person who decides if you're going to do a good job or not is you. And there's no police. I've been a dentist for 18 years. I've been doing dentistry for 20 years because my first year of where I pulled out my first tooth was 20 years ago this year. That's a long time. I've never had, maybe my 2 years of university, but once I left university, I never had anybody over my neck, saying, Are you going to make the right moral choice? We all know that image of the devil on one side and an angel on the other. You know, what are you going to do? And this is up to you. So you have to figure out what kind of dentist you want to be. So I didn't really understand until about 6 years into my profession, maybe even 8 years into my profession, what kind of dentist I wanted to be. So for the dentist beginning, take your time. And I realized quite soon that it was when I did complete care dentistry, so when I was doing rebuilding smiles, that I found my passion, that it wasn't in just doing a filling or a root canal. So this is almost 10 years ago. I did a TV show in Portugal, and this is me cutting a woman's, preparing her teeth. She had a lot of problems. She had cosmetic problems. She had functional problems. She was missing teeth. She needed some root canal. But most importantly, her self-esteem was zero. And we aren't really trained as dentists to talk about self-esteem, because insurance companies don't tick the box for self-esteem. It doesn't exist. But self-esteem is one of the major results. Improving somebody's self-esteem is one of the most major consequences of doing life-changing dentistry. So in one session, after very careful planning, and I'll explain to you how we did this, we prepped all her teeth, we took out some teeth, we did immediate implants, and here we are now putting in the temporary, and 10 years ago I'm doing freehand smile design. That's a decade ago. We didn't have the digital technology that is made available today, so we had to do it by hand. That's why it's important to study dental anatomy. All right, those boring lessons, oh God, this is so boring. This is why it's important. And look at her. She's seen herself for the first time in the mirror, and she's crying, her tears just like popping out of her head, and now her daughter is going to come and see her mom with a smile for the first time. And you can't, that's dramatic. And the most important thing is that we did it right the first time, and they're still my patients 10 years later. And this is what's important. It's not just taking a selfie. You guys are the selfie generation. Snapchat, you know, all that stuff. I still haven't figured out Snapchat. But I do know that you take an image and it disappears, right? Something like that. I'm old. But the truth is that any treatment you do on a patient doesn't just disappear. It's there. You've put something in somebody's head, in their skull, in their mouths, and something so sensitive that if you do it right, you can really improve that person's life. But if you do it wrong, what's going to happen? You're going to really make that person suffer. So the truth is what can you do in 30 minutes? And this is a topic that I'll be going, and a button I'll be pressing several times throughout this hour, which is this concept of 30-minute dentistry, and even worse, in some cases, 20-minute dentistry. None of you guys have ever been trained to do treatments in 30 minutes. It's not a vector of excellence in your universities. But the second that you graduate, so you're trained to do a filling correctly, to put up a rubber dam, remove all the caries, do an acid etching, the standard protocol. I don't know how you could, I've been doing this for 20 years. I cannot greet my patient, sit them down, look at their chart, make sure that the rest of their mouth is okay, take some x-rays, think a little bit, give an anesthetic, set up a rubber dam, do some isolation, choose my drills, prep the patient, do the acid etching, do the bonding, do very slowly incremental layers of composite, make sure they check the occlusion, wait a little bit for the muscle to come down to check the... I can't do that in 30 minutes, and I'm really good at what I do. So I don't understand why there's so many clinics in the world that the second you graduate, dentists that have no experience in the real world, they say, okay, can you do a filling? Yes, you've got 30 minutes, these are the materials you have to do, good luck. So my big fight, and this is the my new mission in life, is to say no to 30-minute dentistry. And I'll tell you why it's so important, because you have a responsibility to do good. And that choice is yours. So, did you know that dentistry is the medical specialty that contributes the most to self-esteem, professional success, and social well-being? Well, we did a study, because I did this, my last TV show, I produced TV shows for 7 years. And my last TV show, we did this experiment, was really cool because I owned a very large practice back in 2009 and 2010, and we had plastic surgeons, and we had dermatologists and nutritionists, and we did hair transplants and nose jobs and boob jobs and bum jobs and light resection, and we did everything. We had a gym, we had psychologists, and these people would come, and these were broken people. Their self-esteem was very, very bad, and everybody had some kind of problem. And we studied 54 people with an average age of 42. Everybody had a cosmetic intervention, some Botox here, some Restylane here, hair, ears, nose, whatever. Everybody lost some weight. Everybody got a little bit more fit. Everybody had psychology, but everybody got a full set of teeth. 14 upper, 14 bottom, good occlusion. Some got dentures over implants. Some got fixed hybrid structures over implants. Some got veneers. Some got just did a bleaching. But everybody got a beautiful smile. And we discovered that with a 28% more than any other cosmetic intervention, dentistry brought more happiness, more self-esteem, more self-image, more professional success, more welfare, more moral integrity, and a bigger reduction in psychopathology like phobias and stress and these kind of issues than any other profession. Why? Because as a dentist, you treat health, you treat beauty, and you treat the well-being. And I don't think you even thought about this. Have you thought about this before? The huge scope of dentistry? If somebody comes in with an abscess, then you're a doctor. Somebody comes in just wanting very thin contact lens veneers, then you're a beautician or a statistician or whatever you want to call it. And you get to decide how you want to do this. It's huge responsibility. So what business are you really in as dentists? Well, I think you're in the happiness business. And if you focus on your patient's happiness, I promise you, you will be successful. It's that simple. People say, how do I be successful? Focus on happiness. And as you grow, not just the happiness of your patient, but the happiness of your team, the happiness of yourself, the happiness of your bank account. It's okay to make money with this, but if you focus on the happiness first, I promise you that you'll be successful. And if you're treating a patient in 25 minutes, I promise you that maybe they'll be happy straight away because they'll say, oh, the doctor was so nice, didn't hurt, didn't feel a thing, it looks great. But if he put one big blob of composite and polymerized, you're going to have some retraction there. And when will he have some problems? 4 or 5 years later. He won't even think. And then doctors will say, oh, you know, you don't floss and so and so. But you know that if you take in an hour or an hour and a half to do that restoration, he never would have needed to do a filling again, or at least for another 30 years. So you got to get it right the first time. Now, what's an easy case for you might be difficult for you. What's an easy case for you might be difficult for him. And this is according to the basic rules. But how many of you think of this equation? Now, most of you, when you start working, you will work for insurance companies. You will work for your health, your country's national health service, right? And I've only ever worked for private. So it's up to me to decide how much I want to charge for my patients. And I think very much along the lines of a lawyer, okay? And I want you to think about this. Because as a lawyer, imagine I want to become the district attorney of the state of New York. If you want to get elected by your community to become the district attorney, they're going to elect the guy that has the most successful cases. I want to elect a guy who's never lost, because that's a good lawyer. But you know what? Maybe he just didn't do cases that he would have lost. Have you ever thought about that? Okay? You can plan victory. How? Avoiding failure. So do this in dentistry. Think about that. Now, when you have a difficult person and a difficult case, let me give you an example. You need to do a class 1 filling, the world's easiest treatment. Only in enamel, so the cavity is only in enamel of a lower molar. Very easy. You can do this in 15 minutes, all right? But what I'm trying to say is, what about the patient? What if you've got a really, I don't know, guy that weighs 300 kilos? He has, his muscles like this. He's got macrogloss. He has huge tongue. He's saliving. And the second you put your mirror in his mouth, he starts vomiting. These patients exist. Oh, and he might have some Parkinson's on top of it. Yet you give them 30 minutes and exactly the same fee. You charge exactly the same fee to do that. And this is where dentistry is almost the most democratic profession in the world, because I think that's incredibly unfair. Why should I have to stress because my patient is incredibly difficult? Maybe not his fault, but incredibly difficult. And that's what makes our job very, very difficult, is that we never know who's coming through that door. All right? Now, everybody would like to do the easy case or the easy person. But you've got to remember this when you go into treatment. Abraham Lincoln said, give me 6 hours to chop down a tree, and I will spend the first 4 sharpening the axe. That means preparation. The better prepared you are, the faster you'll chop down that tree. And a lot of you young dentists, the first thing you want to do is like, hey, let's get working, give me the drill, give me the anesthetic, because you want to do the fun part. But I promise you, if you don't focus on preparation, you will fail. And nowadays, you do have Instagram and Twitter and Snapchat and all of that stuff. And if you're trying to open in your business in a competitive market and you start making mistakes in the beginning of your career, that will last forever. You get a bad review online, that will last forever. You won't get back from that. So remember to go very slowly in your first stages as a dentist. Once again, what can you do in 30 minutes? That was good. That was good. So, I think what we're talking about here is how to reduce risk. Now, imagine investment banking. You guys know what investment banking is? Okay, investment banking is, I really don't understand a lot, but I think it's like this, that you go to a banker and you say, here's $100, invest this for me, and in 2 years' time, I want 110 back or 120 back. It's something like that, right? And sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, but I think the banker always wins. But what I'm trying to say is, in dentistry, should our patients are they paying for a treatment or are they investing in a treatment? It's not buying a watch. You're not buying something static that's the same for everybody. So our patients, if you start thinking about it, that they're investing, should you not want to make sure that that investment lasts the longest possible? So first and foremost, make sure you have the skills. Don't do things you don't know how to do. Find friends who know how to do it. And you guys come from the sharing part of civilization. You guys are sharing. I mean, I grew up, I had nobody to share with. We didn't have Facebook, so I was pretty much left to my own devices, and that's why in 2000, I built an interdisciplinary team. I have doctors on my team now for 14 years. I have the same hygienist for 14 years, the same orthodontist for 13 years. I've been working with the same lab for 17 years. I have the same endodontist for a decade. I have the same cosmetic dentist for a decade. These things you can't buy. You have to build these relationships. Don't save on material and equipment. Once I was giving a lecture, I won't say in what country, but we were talking about implant dentistry. So how many people place implants? And like almost everybody raised their hands. It was an implant convention. I said, wow, that's amazing. Okay, wow. So how many people here drive a Porsche? Like 20 people raised their hands. I said, great. How many people drive a Ferrari? Like 20 people raised their hands. I said, how many people drive a Lamborghini? Like 4 people raised their hand. What about, and then everybody was getting, great. Finally, somebody could ask me about my car. How many people have private jets? 1 guy raised his hand. How many people have cone beam computerized tomography devices in their clinic? Nobody raised their hands. And you know what I said? Shame on you. Shame on you. You're taking your patient's money and you're investing it in your lifestyle. But what you should be doing is taking your patient's money and investing it back in their mouths. You understand what I'm saying? All right. Get to know who your clients are and what they really want. You've got to establish a relationship and create bonds. You can't do that in 30 minutes. Hey, Mrs. Jones, how you doing? How's the family? A little bit of, and in some cultures, in Arabic cultures, having a good conversation is so important. Maybe in Germany, you can get straight in there and do your filling, which is great, but in USA, people love that. You need to have a rapport with your doctors. You can't do that in 30 minutes, all right? And remember, you're always treating a personal problem, not just a problem on a person's mouth. And everybody is a difficult patient when things go wrong. So make sure you have all the necessary materials and that you master the techniques needed. Always do evidence-based surgery. Photograph everything. X-ray everything. X-ray the various steps throughout your treatment. If I were to ask you how to do a filling, you'll probably say, start with the anesthetic, then get the drill. Some of you will forget about the rubber dam, but it's the process. You know how I say? Start with extraoral photography, then intraoral photography, intraoral X-rays. Because the one day that your treatment goes wrong and you don't have the original X-ray, so I fire doctors that forget to take X-rays. They say I'm a badass boss. But you know what? That's the price of success. It's like Formula One. There's no room for error. It's incredibly, incredibly important, your job. And you can have as much fun as you want, but the second you put those gloves on and you sit down, you become the master of somebody else's smile, and that is a responsibility. You've got to learn to manage expectations. This is going to be fine. You're going to smile like, Hollywood smile, no pain. That's stupid. Okay? Follow the science. Now, I like this slide. This is Lady Justice, but I usually say this is the brain of a dentist when they see a patient for the first time. And the sword here is your knowledge, your experience, your skills, your technology, your know-how. And a lot of dentists think that their sword is bigger than it is. And the balance is your capacity to judge if it's an easy case, difficult case, and if you're smarter, easy person, difficult person. And the blindfold is, how much money can I make from this? And it's okay to make money from your cases. Your education costs a lot of money. Your books cost a lot of money. For those of you that have to travel for postgraduate degrees or education, that's very expensive for your parents. You have to pay back loans. You're completely entitled to make money from dentistry, but not entitled to that. So, to know yourself, your skills, your patient, and your predictable outcome, which comes from science, will determine success. Success is the delicate management of your greed, your skills, and your patient's desires. That makes sense? And this is where your ethics, your personal ethics come in play. You are not in the business of selling Prada or, Rolexes or Rolls Royces. You're not selling an amazing commodity. It's not just something you can sell. It's something you have to build. It's something that requires your own talent. Now, let's just say that there's several types of clinics in the world. Now, we have a lot of different nations here today, where I think there's 50 different countries at the IADS, and it took me years to understand that every single country has a different vision of dentistry. Thank you. Now, for example, I'm from Portugal, and in Portugal, there's no dentistry in the National Health Service. It's 100% private. But in the UK, you have it in the NHS, and they do a lot of 10-minute, 15, 20-minute dentistry. But they do it all over the world, and depending on where you come, like for example, Tunisia. In Tunisia, you cannot have a clinic that has that interdisciplinary dentistry. It's legally not allowed. So if you want to open a practice with 10 doctors, you can't do it. Did you know that? I didn't know that. So all of a sudden, you start seeing that dentistry changes. And you guys at IADS, I think you need to try and create the future that make it the same everywhere. All right? You have a work on that. And young dentists worldwide, I think that's something you should really focus on, is making dentistry the same for everybody. Legally, speak to your governments and allow that. I'm also hugely in favor of dentistry being part of the national health system, but not implant dentistry, not cosmetic dentistry, and not complex oral rehabilitation. I would say endodontics and extractions and abscesses, urgencies, and fillings. The basic dentistry, but 1 hour dentistry, not 20-minute dentistry, okay? Because it's the duty of the government to create the benchmark of excellence, not to make money from this. So the difference between a luxury clinic, which is a clinic that has a huge team and has a lot of science and technology, versus the single dentist, is, I would say there's only three things that differentiate that. And I call them the 3 dimensions of excellence. Your experience, because you've got dentists that one guy in his office in the middle of nowhere that is doing dentistry that you can't even imagine. I'll give an example right now, my friend Ashraf from Tunisia. This guy by himself does some of the best dentistry in the world, you know, and it's a big shout out to my friend Ashraf. And there's a lot of you out there that you don't need a big team because you understand going slow. And I think that if you own your own practice, you have everything to lose. Do you understand what I'm saying? So you'll really take it slow. You'll do slow dentistry. The same way fast food kills, fast dentistry kills. Okay? So big shout out for hashtag slow dentistry. So, you got your experience is important. You got your materials. If you're not using good materials, you know, you saw that video earlier. I was using a physical composite, and that's made by Voco in Germany in Cuxhaven. And I've actually been to this factory where in the very north part of Germany, and you see the research and development. You see how they, and I'm like, wow, I can understand that this is a good product. You know, it's manufactured on location, and I trust these materials. And sometimes you'll want to use cheaper materials because you can save some money and buy a Porsche. Catch the bus and buy good materials. And the time. Nobody thinks about this. So to manage excellence, you need experienced materials and the right time. So here's the formula for success, guys. Clinical experience plus adequate time plus good protocol plus good materials equals long-term success in clinical cases. Take a photograph, and this is the one commandment of dentistry. Make sense to you? If you fail on one of these, you will fail in your case, and you will ruin somebody's life. Well, ruin it, but the guy will have to go again to the dentist, pay some more money, go through the... You don't want to be that guy. You want to be the superhero dentist. So most dentists believe that the skills are more important than the products that they use. That is not true. You are only as good as the products you use. You are only as good as the skill, as the clinical protocols. You are only as good as the science. A lot of dentists walk around thinking that they're Superman. My mama says I'm the best dentist in the world. Your mama, wrong, fool. Okay? So, the experience, the time, and the materials are equally important in the worldwide dental market. Now I'm talking about a factor that you've not really thought about, time. And unfortunately for you, as you begin, you should take more time to do your dentistry. And as you grow older and a bit more experienced, because dentistry is like kung fu. The more you train, the faster you get, the more agile you get. So, you know, when you become a master dentist, then the time, that's up to you to figure out how much time you want to take. But in the beginning, you're not Superman. Take your time. Now, let's look at dentistry when I graduated in 1998 versus today. Today, you guys have got Photoshop. Man, I see some cases on internet, and I get depressed. I can't do that. I mean, this guy, and then I figure out that maybe there's some Photoshop there. So first of all, I have never used, I don't know how to use Photoshop. I've never used Photoshop on my cases, and I just think that's ridiculous because you'd be wanting to impress other people, and the only person you should impress is your patients. Right? So you've got a lot of weekend courses popping up everywhere. You've got a lot of, you know, some of them are so important because it's great that you don't have to travel to another country. But beware of courses given by dentists that don't really practice a lot. Just saying. Just saying. You know, you've got guys with 3 years or 4 years or 5 years of clinical experience. They put a little money, they get some partnerships, and they, hey, let's do a course. And they do some great marketing, and it sounds and it looks great. But you want to learn with people that have a lot of experience. Okay? Just remember that. So who are the players in the world of dentistry today? Who are the players? Let's just break this down. You have the industry. These are all the companies. These are the Henry Scheins. These are the Straumans. These are the Vocos. These are the companies that make your products. 3M. You know, these companies that we depend on for our product. What's this company out here today? Fona, big shout out to Fona, it's helping you guys. Thank you. So you've got the industry, and then you've got the dentists, or the clinics, or the hospitals, the guys that actually do the work. And then you got the patient. There's nobody else involved in the equation of dentistry. Okay? And right now, the industry talks to the dentist, and almost every single convention in the world is for the industry, for the dentist. I know because I've been lecturing for 10 years. It's a closed environment. And then the dentist only communicates to the patient in the dental chair. Right? Now, how many of you think that the dentist is communicating to the patient exactly what the industry tells him to say? You need to go slowly, you have to do it like this, you need to use this cement, you need to do this. Nah, I'm the best dentist in the world, I can do it in half the time. Understand? So remember, your patients are ignorant to what's going on in the world of dentistry, and your responsibility is to train your patients. Teach them. Every single patient that comes to White Clinic gets a 1 hour, if not 2 hour training course in dentistry. I want them to know as much as I know. Well, I just proved to you that all I know can fit into 2 hours. But in 2004, there were 1.8 million dentists working around the world. I would suggest that those numbers are over 2.2 million today. There's 200,000 students in the IADS. By my calculations, 730 universities around the world. And by our calculations, roughly 500,000 dental students on the planet right now, wanting your job. Just in the Iberian Peninsula, there's 47,000 dentists. You know? So, are they all the same? You've got your prosthodontist, your oral surgeons, your oral hygienist, your orthodontist, your endodontist, maxillofacial, perio. And you know what? You are licensed to do all of this. Technically, the second you graduate, you are licensed to do everything that I do. That's incredible. And there's no police. There's no dental police. You know, if I drive without a driver's license and I get pulled over, I go to jail. I get a fine. It's really bad. I need a license to shoot a gun. I need a license to ride a jet ski. I do need a license to become a dentist, but there's nobody regulating. There's no police that come to the clinic and say, oh, well, yes, that's very good. Congratulations, I'll not give you a fine on that filling you just did. And the only police is ourselves. Your personal values. Who do you want to be? The superhero or the bad guy? So finance-based diagnosis is killing dentistry. How many of you at university they said to you, okay, Mary has 3 cavities, she's missing 2 teeth, she has some gum disease, and $50 a month to spend, and she uses this insurance company? Nobody, right? You were never trained to look at a patient financially. You were trained to look at a patient, the problem that they had, and the medical scientific solution for that, and no matter how long it took, you knew what to do. But the second you graduate, they kick you into the real world and say, you've got 30 minutes, and you've got to do this under budget, and the patient comes in, and she's missing back teeth, she's got infections and stuff, she's got no posterior function, but she wants 4 veneers because she's got a wedding coming soon. Right? This is real, this happens. And they come in and say, doctor, I will give you $5,000. I want 4 veneers on my front teeth. And you look at that $4,000 on the table, and you can do 4 veneers. You've got the know-how. But you know scientifically that if you don't have posterior function, all the force will come forward, and within 3-4 years, those veneers will start cracking, they'll pop off. You'll make a quick $4,000, but you'll lose that patient. And it's such a hard thing to say, I'm sorry. No. And that is one of the secrets of success. So you've got your low-cost clinics and your high-end clinics. I don't know if you know, but recently in Spain, the Vital Dent clinics, I'm sure they helped a lot of people. I'm sure all the dentists that worked there were very good and tried their best. But the clinics just, the administration are in jail for money laundering. There's no secret formula to success. You know, I was like, man, I'm a good dentist. How come I can't afford opening 100 clinics around the world? There's no secret formula here. Money doesn't come off the trees. Okay? So the luxury clinic concept is a team of specialists, you know, where people always choose quality over price, they choose the best products, they're interested in the science behind the products. This is not luxury about, I'm not talking Louis Vuitton luxury. I'm talking about scientific, ethical luxury. Do you understand the difference? You can do this in Sudan. You guys had a really rough time in the last couple of years. You know, your country's coming through. I have huge respect. I can't wait to come to your country. You know, and it must be incredibly difficult. And you know, but we have Beirut that came out of a very difficult civil war. You know, we're having people now in Tehran. We've got Tehran here as well. Where's my friend from Tehran? You know, you've got incredible dentistry in Tehran. I've been there twice. I love it. You know, you've got little villages in the middle of, I don't know where, Kazakhstan that are having everybody's, but the one thing, luxury doesn't mean money. It means excellence. Okay? And of course, the low-cost dentists are always worried about the price. They choose quantity over quality. They're not interested in science, and they just want volume. And I know people that say, hey, how many appointments did you do today? I did 25 appointments. You know, like that was, I can't understand that. If I see 2 patients a day, maybe 3, that's a lot. Because I want to take my time. Because if you're in that cycle of doing this massification dentistry, 20-minute appointments, you're spending 8 hours a day, and you know, you're not earning that much money depending on country you're living in. There's no time to progress, no time to study, no time to compare. You become an addict. And then you buy a car, you buy a house, and all of a sudden, I can't get out of this. Then you have a baby, and man, I can't get out of it. If I quit my job, so the best time to catch you guys, and this is why I love the IADS, is if I can do one thing in dentistry, is to at least, if I get one of you to live according to this philosophy, I've won. So let's look at like the demographics. A lot of you, I know that the IADS is very active in demographics of dentistry. In Norway, all children under the age of 18 are entitled to free dental care. Norway, dentistry is one way. We just discussed Tunisia, Spain, and Portugal. Every country has a different demographics. And to choose, you've got to know your targets. Now, if you're setting up your practice, a lot of you have a lot of obstacles. Or if you want to go study something, you want to learn with this professor, all right? How many of you have a professor that you'd like to go and learn with, but you're scared of like emailing him? Yeah, we've got a few hands. You know, or at university, you're a bit embarrassed to go, doctor, I'd like to come and work with you. Like, do you understand what I'm saying? You know, or you want to go work at a clinic, but you're scared to go and, man, this guy's, I'm a bit nervous, it might not work. Don't be scared, okay? Famous people don't bite. Some do. Mike Tyson. But, so how do you eliminate barriers between you and your obstacles? Well, first of all, everybody knows that there's 6 degrees of separation, right? So, and it's called the small world phenomenon. You know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody else, right? So according to this theory, you've connected to everybody by only a few other people. Now, this is not just good, this is also bad, because if you do bad dentistry, and remember, bad news travels faster than good news. Oh, don't go to that person. I went there and, you know, my filling fell out after 5 minutes. So be careful. But if you're trying to meet doctors, now I'm talking about the positive aspect, if you're trying to meet somebody, you want to get a job, remember, even the famous guys in the world you're connected to, you know, and because I knew somebody, I get to treat this guy, and that's like super cool. So there's no obstacles between you and anybody. You've got to know your target. So use social media, use Facebook to understand. And even if you're patient, remember you have a big patient coming in, find out about them. They say that success is where preparation and opportunity meet. So you guys are prepared as dentists, you have to create the opportunity. Create it. It's theirs. Now, you know, all you have to do is you go on Google and you can type in somebody's name, you can find out something about them. Oh, this is a little video here, but you see, you can type in somebody's name and find out something about them. I have students or young dentists that come to my clinic and say, Dr. Stanley, I'd like to have a job interview with you. And I receive everybody. So then I say, so what do you know about me or my work? Not that much. Get out. I mean, seriously, do your homework. So for you wanting to go into the professional world, find out about these guys. Everybody has something that you can connect you to them. Dentist is a very hard job. It's a very difficult job. And why is it so tough? First of all, you are not trained in management. It's a highly demanding job. It's physically challenging, it's lonely, you're always treating unhappy patients, you're dealing with pain and disease every day. I mean, your patient, do you know how many times I have had chunks of bone with blood in my eye? And I use special glasses, you know, that cover, I don't know how, but they find a way to go like this and come under and into your eye. Or you're taking off amalgam, and it's like, be careful of amalgam and gold. It always gets in your eye. I mean, you literally have to have swimming goggles to do that. And I've had to go, in my career, in 18 years, I've had to go 6 times to the hospital to have metal pieces pulled out of my eye. God knows what bacteria is in that. I don't get paid enough for that stuff. Nobody thinks how risky this profession is. And then we have to say, oh, doctor, that's very expensive. Oh, doctor, no, I can't. Oh, no. But you have to, I don't care about the science. Just do what I'm telling you to do. This is a tough job. For those of you that do not have the courage, the guts, or the balls to do this, quit. Seriously, quit. It's a tough job. You know? Why is it tough to be a junior dentist? Well, this is you every day. They've given me all this information, and I don't know where I'm going. You know? It's really tough to be this guy. And that's why I'm doing this, and that's why I like to do this, is because if I can help anybody, just understand that it's okay, go slowly, and you do have impossible goals, but they're not impossible, they just seem impossible. So you've got to say no to 30-minute dentistry. That's probably the foundation to getting where you want to go. And instead of going for the whole row like a Monopoly, I want to do everything, just choose your target. I want this. And you all know the coolest guy on the planet. And he just like, no aiming, no nothing. And this is a lot of dentists. This is literally, hey, let's just do some fillings and some extractions and let's do this and that. Now, he's cool, but this guy's cooler.
Yeah.
Okay? This guy's a badass. He's like, you know, taking his time, calls his girlfriend, he takes a leak, measures, takes his time, clean kill. And this is dentistry. Take your time, okay? Even musicians have a higher suicide rate than dentists. Sorry, a lower suicide rate than dentists, that's what I meant. So, musicians are 3.6 times more likely to commit suicide than average, dentists 5.45 times. So why are you going to make your life even more difficult by creating stress when you go to work every day? So you've got to learn to say no. No, I will not do a filling in 20 minutes. I need time to do this properly. No, I will not just do 4 front veneers because what you need is posterior function. Don't tell me how to do my job. I would love to take that 4,000 euros off your hands, but I would be creating a problem for myself and worse, a problem for you in the future. So you've got to learn your limits. And most important, you need to manage is yourself, your ethics, your moral values. What is success for you? I mean, you guys all met Darren from Humble Brush, and that guy's amazing. He quit his job, he sold his practice after 45 years old to go and help kids in Ethiopia. He found his calling. There's no money involved in that. You know, find your passion. That was the first slide. What is your passion? All right, super important. I truly believe we have the power to help people live a better life. So I'm going to show you where I work. I work in the city of Lisbon. We have the best of Rio de Janeiro and the best of San Francisco. So we have a statue of Christ, and we have also a big Golden Gate bridge style. Super cool city. I strongly suggest that the IADS, I know you have something with the Young Dentists Worldwide in Coimbra. I strongly suggest that you all come and visit. So my clinic is this floor here. We're neighbors to L'Oreal. And this is our reception. And I want my clinic to reflect my values. So it's very clean. It's very, very minimalistic. It's very clean. I have visited 34 countries now. And I've been to a lot of clinics. And, you know, oh, doctor, look at my clinic. And you walk in and there's a crack in the wall, and there's his furniture, and his assistant is smoking a cigarette, and he himself has gum disease. Yes, but business is not very good. Well, no wonder, man. Why would I come in? You know? Jesus, go take a shower or something. You know, paint the wall. Because, oh, but I have a diploma. You know, and I have this and I have that. And I'm like, dude, everything counts. Your personal hygiene, the way you look, the way you speak, time you take, the quality of your toilet paper, the quality of the coffee that you serve, having a nice candle somewhere. These things aren't expensive and make all the difference. We have 10 specialists, staff of 35, and we only have 6 chairs. This is Carlos. He's been with me for 10 years. He's an endodontist. And this is Dr. Felipe here. And you also lecture this. Congratulations, Dr. Felipe. It's a very good lecture. And we do a lot of online stuff. You know, there's a lot of people posting cases right now, so we dedicate a lot of our time to working. So my main priority is not Facebook or Twitter. My main priority is my patients and my clinic. And we don't always have a lot of time to do that. So here's the fun part, the part you've all been waiting for, the cases. So here's a patient that is actually biting down. So we have an open bite. And what I want to show you is an interdisciplinary case. And this is what dentistry can do if you do a team approach and you sit down and you plan. Now, what a lot of people would like to do, and it took me years to be able to actually get it down, is every Friday, we shut down the clinic. Okay? Now, I know what I make a day in that clinic. Not working for a day costs a lot of money. Because we're not making money, right? But you know what we do? We sit down and we go over every single case. My entire team is in the meeting room and we discuss, and people say they do this, but a lot of them don't, because people want to be working. And a guy died, he owned a bank. He said once to me, Dr. Stanley, you work too much to ever be able to make money. And this was 10 years ago. I didn't understand what he meant. But what he meant was you need time to think about your business, to plan things. The Abraham Lincoln 4 hours before you chop down a tree, to plan your business. So dentistry is all about preparation. So here we had a team approach. She had a root canal that wasn't good. She had infected roots. She had another infected root here. She had another infected root here. She had some fractured restorations and missing teeth, open bite. This is a big problem. Who does what when? Who does what when? So then we're going to sit down and we do a little bit of a graphic so the patient can understand what she wants to do. We take a CBCT. We own a very advanced CBCT, and we don't charge them. People say, oh, you don't charge a CBCT? No, because I need the CBCT. And if I was to charge the patient, they wouldn't do it, and I need the CBCT, so we don't charge the CBCT. And Dr. Kardic comes in and does incredible endo. Then I've cleaned out. So on the same day, this patient will finish the endo, then go to another room, and I'll do the surgery. So he doesn't have to come back and forth because all my doctors are full-time on my team. I don't have to wait till Tuesday. Wait till the 15th day of the second month till the specialist comes. My team is full-time. And then once that's done, 10 days later, removes the stitches, puts on the orthodontics. It's very fast. And we do the orthodontics. We use Damon. We're one of the leading clinics in the country for Invisalign. We've been using Invisalign for 12 years. A brilliant orthodontist called Dr. Alessandro Curto from Bali, Italy. And we bring that back. Then we've now finished. My bone's healing. I've got my implants already placed. I'm missing just one. And then we're going to do some bleaching. This is composite, so it's not bleachable. And then this is like a tissue punch technique to place an implant. And we take the CBCTs to make sure that everything is good. And here, for example, this is a lecture. I could sit here for 1 hour just to talk about this. This is piezo surgery. So here we're doing a split ridge technique. You sometimes will go to implant congresses and you'll see a guy talk just for 1 hour on this. And sometimes as junior dentists, you can't see the big picture. All right? So we pulled out the whole arsenal. We went James Bond on this one. We had everything. Okay, so we do the split ridge, placing the implants, doing ridge expansion, guided bone regeneration, Here's the soft tissue after 6 months. Taking the CBCT, we're using ISQs to measure implant stability, one implant, and all of this while the orthodontics is working. Okay? Then, when everything is settled, the day we remove the braces, we prep the front teeth. Here we're doing a prep for a full crown because this tooth has had root canal. Putting up everything by the book. This work was actually done by Dr. Miguel from my team. She's been my cosmetic and prosthodontist for 10 years now. She's brilliant. She's my dentist. She's the one that does my team. And here we have, this is that product. This is the structure, good products. My lab doesn't make my temporaries. We make our temporaries in mouth using Bisacryl. The product is called Structure from Voco. It's one of the best products. We love it. We use it like peanut butter and everything. And then we make some Emax ceramic crowns and the cementation done by the book. Can you see the rubber dam? To cement the teeth, adhesive system. Now, you can't do this in 30 minutes. And it's like, you all want to do this kind of dentistry. You can't do this in 30 minutes. So here we are cementing, and this is about a week after cementation. And we took her from this to this, to this, to this. We have this patient's permission to show this photograph. And it's not a dramatic aesthetic result, but this is functional, biological. This is going to last. This is almost 14 months of treatment. She came about 20 times to the clinic. Okay? Now, have you ever thought about this? Who loves Johnny Depp? Love Johnny Depp. Oh my God, he's such a great actor in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. The guy's freaky, man. He transfigures, and you got the chats, and everybody's saying what an incredible actor, and he is. But have you noticed they've given him women's teeth? How freaky is that? Your brain doesn't even know that it's judging you by the shape of your teeth. And these are one of the fundamentals of smile design, understanding facial integrated smiles, understanding facial anatomy, golden proportion. You can literally change a person's character if you mess up the smile. Did you know that? That's why things like the DSD are pretty good, and you can do the smile before you actually go in. It's very important. Don't just accept what your lab gives you. And sometimes you just keep it. This guy was a guy who'd never been to a dentist in the world in his life. He's 18 years old. He flew in from Toronto. Dentists don't refer patients to us. Patients refer patients to us. And I've never really been worried about pissing dentists off because they don't pay me. My public, my patients pay me. And that's why my main focus has always been my patients, giving the best dentistry to my patients. And it's nice to talk about this, so it's quite liberating to be able to be this honest. So this guy walks in, and can anybody see if there's a problem here? What looks strange? Hey? Okay, no, I like diastemas. Stop closing diastemas, guys. Diastema is awesome. Can you see the color here? Okay, I'm being unfair. Look at the CBCT. Can you see that there? That's massive internal resorption. But if I don't have a good X-ray and if I don't have a CBCT, I wouldn't know this. So it's so unfair for so many patients around the world that go to a practice that's doing low-cost, cheap dentistry, where the owner drives a Bentley but doesn't have the good technology, and this guy walks in, oh, it's fine, let's just do a filling. And this happens. But in this case, he was lucky enough to come to us. We took off that tooth, and here we're doing something called the partial extraction technique, better known as the socket shield technique. Have you ever heard of this?
Yeah.
Yeah? Who said yeah?
Provided by Salama.
Salamas and Dr. Hertzler as well. So it's really, really cool. I mean, this goes against everything that I learned. We actually leave the buccal plate of the tooth. So we cut the tooth in half very gently, and we leave the buccal part and all the fibers connected to the buccal plate of bone. Why? Because it will keep the bone. Because you know that if you take out that tooth, the bone's going to collapse, the soft tissue is going to collapse. And we now know the science and the evidence proves that you can leave it in there. So here we are, and there's the buccal plate of the bone, sorry, of the tooth, and we're going to go place our implant. Now I chose a 4 millimeter in diameter fixture with a 15 millimeter length. And I had in mind to do immediate loading. Do you know what immediate loading is? It's to take out a tooth, put in the implant, and put a crown. I will never do this in the posterior for single teeth. I will only do it in the cosmetic area. Also because the pressure is less. So I go and I place my implant. And there's a measurement called the ISQ, Implant Stability Coefficient. And it's a little device that was developed by Ostel, and it sends out these little vibrations with a special pin. Each of these pins cost me like 20 euros, and they're not reusable, so it's expensive to know the science. And the measurement was 68. Now, the science behind this specific implant says I need an ISQ of over 70 to be able to perform implant immediate loading. The science says that. I cannot say, well, maybe it will work. Do you understand how serious that is? So I take the implant out and I throw it away. That's a very expensive decision, don't you think? But I place another one, which is 4.5, half a millimeter wider, and instantly I feel it's better, it's got more torque, and I measure the ISQ, and I have 75. I now can rest, I can relax, because the science tells me that this tooth can be immediately loaded, and here's the x-ray, and then I have a huge selection of abutments that I go in, and Dr. Dennis Tarnow from the New York University, he did two important studies in dentistry. One was the jumping distance, saying that if you had under 2 millimeters from the implant to the alveolar socket, that bone would form. And it does. Under perfect circumstances, if you don't smoke and you keep it clean, it does grow back. I don't like to take risks with other people's health, so I always pack bone. Okay, I always pack, but it's expensive to do it. And on top of it, but just a quick he did a study in I think 1996 about the distance from the contact point to the crestal bone in regards to the papilla. How many people know the study? All right, you men, you can apply for a job. So what I'm saying, this study, please go and check it out. Dr. Dennis Tarnow's study on contact point to crestal bone, because he proved that if you have less than 5 millimeters from the contact point in between like the centrals to the crestal bone, the papilla will always fill it. And this is so important if you want to be a cosmetic dentist. And you'd be surprised how many cosmetic dentists do not know this. Now, when most of my friends were out partying and having Ibiza trips, I was at home studying, you know, so I only became cool after 40, you know what I'm saying? So we packed that all in, and then we also know that if we get some soft tissue, so this is tooth 27, just a little circular bisturi, we took out a little plug of gingiva, we took the epithelium off, and we put that just in the front, give an extra boost to soft tissue, because we know that if we have more soft tissue, it will always help. Now, you have no idea how much science is behind this. How do I know this? Because I spend my lives at congresses. I spend my lives listening to great doctors all around the world. Sites like Dental XP in the USA, from this team Atlanta, Salama Brothers. You've got Dental Tubules in the UK. You've got DentiPro right now. It's, go online, study, spend less time on Facebook and more time on these sites. Less time on Snapchat, looking up, spend more time on this site. And I promise you, you will become super dentist. And then here we are. We actually use the patient's own tooth. We put some composite in, and we put the patient's own tooth polymerized back in the spot. And then we did a little splint at the back with these special strips. Actually are made by Voco. They're very easy to use. They're expensive, but it's very fast. Okay, polymerize it, smooth everything out. Occlusion, very important. And the guy walked out with this tooth, soft tissue after 1 week, and now we're waiting for it to come back to change this, because I don't want that temporary, the natural tooth there too long. We will change that for a temporary, but that's just so this guy who'd never been to a dentist could actually have a cool experience. This whole thing took us under 1 hour. Okay, now I know I've been saying no to 30-minute dentistry, but there were about 5 people in the room, and I had a lot of assistants, and I have a lot of technology, and that's the only way that you can make that, as you can speed up surgeries, is by technology. So here's another case very quickly. This is a guy who has a molar. Can you see that he has a huge loss of bone around this molar? Now, what kind of bone is this? D1, D2, D3, or D4? D4. This is soft bone. This is the hardest bone to work. That's simple. Now, insurance companies and whatever, they don't qualify the bone. They don't. So imagine if you've got D4 bone on a difficult patient who can't. Do you understand how that makes? And they just say, "Oh no, it's the same for." It's not the same for everybody. This is very difficult to do. So we took that tooth out. We raised the flap. Can you see? It's no buccal plate. He's got a huge hole. Now, most of you will say that the best thing to do is to just put some bone in and a membrane, wait 6 months, and then place an implant, right? But you see, I study a lot, and I see a lot, and I learn a lot, and then I get to apply a lot. But I told my patient, I said, I want to try something with you, but it might fail. But don't worry, if you need a second implant, I will offer you the second implant, and we'll cover any costs, but I want to try something with you. So I didn't experiment with him. I told him the science, and he said, okay, let's do it. So what did I do? Dr. Philippa took the guy's blood and made some APRF, which is protein-rich fibrinogen, developed by my good friend, Dr. Joseph Shukran. And we also made some sticky bone. This is biowas made by Geschlich. And then we placed the implant in the middle, in the ideal position, in the cortical of the sinus, but it had stability. It's very important that implants have primary stability. And then we packed it with bone. And then I used a titanium mesh, which is made by Megagen, and this actually has the stability to hold the soft bone, this new soft bone, in place. Now, one of the very important rules for guided bone regeneration is no pressure and stability. All right, and this is why this allows that to happen. So here we have the defect all the way up to the 3rd screw. Technically, this, it's very difficult and shouldn't even work. But I trusted the biology, and I trusted the science, and I trusted the surface of the implant. And here we place a bit of PRF under the membrane, over the membrane, and we suture, tension-free suture. This is an immediate post-op CBCT, looking good. This is 6 months into it, still looking good. My implant wasn't rejected. Bone grew against the implant because the implant surface was activated, but I did my homework. I studied the science. And then after about, I think 4 months, we took off the titanium membrane, put a bit of metronidazole just to clean up any infection. And at 7 months, I have keratinized tissue around my healing abutment. I have a beautiful profile there, and my technician makes me a nice crown with good contact points. And this is after 9 months. And I know that this will work. There's a lot of science, there's a lot of technology, there's a lot of know-how to do this, but it works. And that's what's cool for you guys. There's a lot of smart guys out there pushing the boundaries. So I think dentistry is going to be very exciting in the future. And you can't do this in 30 minutes. All right, so I'm going to show you a few more cases of digital dentistry. This is a lot of fun now, and I think by the time you guys are my age, robots will be doing this. I mean, I could never imagine when I was 26 that you could do something like this. Have a computer, I honestly think that, I think is great, because I think in the future, patients will be able to order their treatments online, go to a scanning center, put their head inside a box, have them scan it, take photographs, choose what implant they want, choose what this and that one, pass their credit cards. There'll be like an Amazon dental thing that will choose everything, put it in a box, FedEx it to the dentist of your choice. right? Dentist doesn't have to do anything. And then all you have to do is open the box, put in the guide, place the implants, done. I think that's the future of dentistry, and I said it here live for you guys for the first time. So here we go. Then we have technicians that do all the positioning. We had help from our good friend, the Coachman family. So Francis Coachman is Christian Coachman's brother. They run a DSD lab in Madrid. And we actually had help from Christian himself doing the DSD. And this is digital smile design applied to surgery. Very cool stuff, all right? And my team and I, we've been developing more and more cases with them, and I think this is going to help a lot of people around the world. So here we have the tissue punch, replacing the implants, very, very low impact surgery. The teeth are 3D printed, very precisely placed, and immediately after surgery, we take the CBCT to confirm everything's good, and this patient walks out on the day with her teeth, 8 implants top, 8 implants bottom, great ISQ. This usually would take me like 12 hours to do. It took me about 3. That's incredible. So the future is bright for you guys. And then we take our impressions. I'll just rush through this. In the lab makes the teeth, and we have a very, very happy patient, you know, with some good dentistry. And I'll show you another case. This is a patient that flew in from Switzerland. Everything guided. You can see a little bit about how everything is planned online. We have technicians controlling dentists, dentists controlling technicians. Sometimes the technicians are dentists. And we 3D print the teeth, the guide, and again, top and bottom, all done in one day, but we're still following them, using the ISQ, minimally invasive surgery with teeth on the day, top and bottom on the day. This is not 3 days later, it's on the day. And then after 6 months, we make the zirconia structures, everything screw retained, stay away from cement as much as you can, and life-changing dentistry. Very expensive to do this. You might question, it costs about, I don't know, 20,000 euros just to do this case. All right? Maybe this is a case you could charge 40, 50, 60,000 euros wherever you are. Okay? But you don't understand the risk. This is where all the risk is. I lose an implant, my bridge fractures, man, that's the biggest headache. You will lose money if something goes wrong here. You will lose everything. So you better have a big sword. And I'm going to show you a case. This case I did with Christian Coachman. He flew out to Portugal. He's one of the founders and the heart and soul behind the DSD. And he did the DSD for us. We designed the teeth. We went from a 2-dimensional, we chose the shape of the teeth. Then we got an STL file. We printed those teeth. We created a 3D, a real-life impression of what we wanted. Then we make a guide. We inject that guide with the structure from Voco. We put that over its natural teeth. And we've gone from 2D to 3D to real life in about, and once you've got the tray, it takes about 5 minutes to do. The patient looks in the mirror, oh, wow, I will sell everything I got to have this treatment done. Okay, so much better than communicating. So those of you that don't know how to communicate so much, this is a great tool. So then we got Dr. Christian Coachman. He did all the work himself, got the occlusion, everything. Now this case was a really cool case because it was the first time that the DSD lab had ever done teeth and implants fully guided all together in one go. It was the first time. So here we are. This is zirconium and Emax. Everything is milled based on the design. Human hand doesn't touch this. This means that in the future, very fast, dental technicians, unless you need the feldspathic veneers and the lab. So you'll have master ceramists and then you'll have machines doing this, which is great. It's great because if you live in Sudan, you don't need to have a master ceramist. You just email it to someone and they FedEx you great dentistry. Do you understand? So it's great. The future is shining. So here we just polish them, and this is pretty much the workflow. And then now we're guiding where we want our implant placed, and we actually design the abutment and the crown and the position of the implant without even taking an impression. How cool is that? All based on CBCT. And then, this is what we get in the box. So I prep the teeth, I place my implant, the depth, the angle, the position is all previously guided. And then I place my abutment, all previously planned. And I've got an SX tray to put all the teeth in, perfectly aligned with the digital planning. And then all the teeth are cemented in one go. And we did this with primetime news in the room. There was no margin for error. I was sweating that day, but it went really well. And a big thanks to Christian. Thank you for helping me with this case. And this, of course, is technology-assisted, life-changing dentistry. And this is instantly, the whole thing took an hour and a half. An hour and a half. That's amazing. So there's Dr. Christian and me with Pedro after we finished, and that's a close-up of the case. No Ceramist. This is milled Emax. It's cool, right? It's really cool. Did you know this was possible? No? How cool is this, right? It's like awesome. So this is the future, but never forget that in order to understand the future, you have to understand the past. And this is a really, really complicated case that there's really no technology except good team planning. And this guy, he didn't like this gap here. And he said, I don't like my gap here, and this tooth is dark, could you help me? So I looked at his x-ray, and he had a badly developed central with a cyst at the base. He had a canine that was impacted here, and these huge spaces in between his teeth. And first thing, this is going to take ages. Instantly, I'm thinking orthodontics. And I also said, well, I'm only going to do the top if I do the bottom. Because usually patients will come in and they'll have a problem in top teeth, and then you only fix the top teeth, and you do a great job, and they look in the mirror and say, yeah, well, what about the bottom two teeth? You never said anything about the bottom teeth. So try and control the smile. There's always 20 teeth in a smile, at least. So we did orthodontics, orthodontic extrusion, and then again, with team approach, we placed implants, ceramics. This is a 5-year follow-up. That's a 6-year follow-up. We even have some gum growing, which is really good. And last case, here we have a patient that had some osteonecrosis due to having done a frenectomy with a laser. So the dentist in question, I don't know who it is, but had a laser. Hey, let me just laser everything. He thought he was Luke Skywalker. And the truth is that he probably didn't understand the machine, and he created a problem for this patient. This patient went for a simple procedure to have a small frenectomy done with the laser, trusted her doctor, trusted the science, paid money to have somebody create a really bad problem for her. And I don't accept that. And on top of it, had an implant placed while there were still leftover roots in the mouth. This is pig dentistry. Don't be like this. And I'm saying some harsh words here, but this is really bad. It's unacceptable. So we raised the flap. She had a huge defect. We put some bio-wash, we put some bio-guide. I prepped the teeth, and I kind of splintered them with the structure with Visacryl. After 1 week, we have some of the particles of the bio-wash, but we had no more infection. And then we used orthodontic extrusion, and we did root canal on those teeth. And what we want to do is do some tipping and some extrusion, because we know in orthodontics that the biology follows. The bone and the soft tissue follows. So we had a temporary phase with acrylic for about a year to get that all stabilized. We placed some implants at the bottom. My no hard smiles philosophy, which is take care of the whole mouth. And here we have Dennis Tarnow's study in action. I had a bony defect, a big bony defect here. Now, the reason why I fused these two crowns together was to have the lowest contact point possible. That if the crowns weren't fused together, I wouldn't be able to create. My contact point would be here. But by fusing them together, my contact point's up here. Why? Because the science says if I have 5 millimeters or less, the papilla grows. And because I knew that study, 6 years later, I still have papilla. One surgery. Okay? So, say no to 30-minute dentistry. I'd like to let you, first of all, I took a little bit longer, I took 20 minutes longer. I wanted to say, talk about the Digital Dentistry Society. This is a society that is helping dentists around the world understand this digital revolution in dentistry. It's digital/dentistry.org. I'm proud to be part of the communications committee. Dr. Philippe is part of the junior committee, so I'll get in touch with her to find out how to be part of this organization. Also, I'll be giving a few more lectures. I've been in Marrakesh this year, here in Bratislava. I'll be going to Texas next week. I'll be in Moscow in April, Poznan again in April, Jordan in April, and Bucharest in May, and Spain, I think, as well, and that's all before June. So, and I always go back to the clinic, and we work every single day, and that's why you see me so busy on the phone. I'd also like to let you know about the Senami. This is the South European, North African, Middle Eastern Dental Society. It's all the countries around the Mediterranean, and try and find out, feel free to email me and find out more about this. And their big meeting will be in the 3rd to the 6th of November in Cairo. So if any of you want to make it out there, some world-class speakers, it's a lot of fun. I'm on the board for Portugal, so please let me know how you guys can get cheaper tickets and by being on the thing. Now, I'm going to leave you with a little bit of I was tired. I've been working a lot. I was in Amsterdam with my friend Christian and my friend Thomas Retry, and we said, hey, let's just do a video. And this guy just interviewed me, and I wanted to share this with you. My name is Miguel Stanley.
I'm half Portuguese, half British, born in South Africa. I've lived in several places in my life, and I studied dentistry, and my passion is to make people smile. And the first time it happened, something, I can't describe it. I still feel it today. And I like sharing that emotion with my patients. And we do it every single day. And when they see their smile for the first time, these fears and these doubts that they have in their head that they could ever be beautiful or look happy or have a better lover or have a better job or just feel more comfortable with who they are. And to change that is a gift that I just love doing. And I think that the success that I've had in my career comes out of absolute fear of failure, not a focus on success. I think a lot of people set out wanting to be successful. I just didn't want to fail. No obstacles, only objectives. And what I mean by that is, if you have a clear vision of where you want to be, where you want to go, just see it and be it and become it. Of course, without stepping on anybody's toes or breaking any laws, but I really do believe that if we believe something and we truly love what we do, there's no way that anybody can stop you achieving your goals. Einstein wrote a letter to his daughter where he said, how wonderful would it be if we changed the letter M for mass in his well-renowned equation E equals mc squared to L, love, meaning energy equals love, times the speed of light to the power of 2. And when I read that the first time, it sounded crazy because we're not trained to equate love as a scientific substance, let's say. And as I grow, and after having lost my father, who I loved boundlessly, and having become more in touch with myself and my family, I do realize that love is without a doubt the most important thing that matters. And you can only have true love if you love yourself and you respect yourself. And you can only have respect for yourself if you're honest and have integrity in your actions throughout the day. So I'm not preaching any morality, but for me personally, peace of mind, which I find through my own personal ethics, is the foundation for me to love myself and to be able to love others. My name is Miguel Stanley, and I'm a surgeon.
So, thank you. I would also like you very much to connect. I have a channel, it's miguelstanley.com. Very easy. We've got a lot of amazing new things coming up very soon. We're going to start doing a web-based TV show very soon. We're going to do this on a global platform. Really cool stories, always based on ethical dentistry, say no to 30-minute dentistry, slow dentistry. So please follow me. And I'd like to thank the organization for everything. So thank you very much.
What amazing, or let's say what a great presentation, an amazing dentist, an amazing presenter, a good message. A good message that is delivered in a very good presentation, a code text that is imprinted in here. Yes, Dr. Stanley, it's an experience that I will always, and all of us will always remember it. Thank you very much for that. But you listen you see, I don't do the Snapchat, so I'm going to do a Snapchat with you.
Oh,
with the things.
let's do this. Let's get the whole
Yes, right, yeah. So, award to IADS.
IADS, thank you so much. Bratislava was incredible. I look forward to Poznan in April. You guys are the best crowd in the world.
That's it. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
I'd like you guys to know something, that there's absolutely no bullshit coming out of my mouth, except for right now. But you really have to be honest, and that's the greatest weapon you have. And if you take one message home, just be good. And I was a Boy Scout when I was a kid, and when you're a Boy Scout, they always teach you that if you go into the forest, you got to leave the forest better than you found it. So be a Boy Scout in people's mouths, you know? Leave it better than you found it. And I would like to take a few questions. If anybody has any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer.
So any questions? I think it was perfect. Like, there's no comments even. We have one question.
What about the patient compliance when it comes to patients sitting in this 30 minutes dentistry in one chair for, let's say, 4 or 5 hours straight? What about the patients then? Isn't the fatigue a problem?
Fatigue?
Yes.
No. Oh, and all my patients, I operate under local anesthetic. The max we'll give them is a Valium. They'll be kind of relaxed. But it's all mental conditioning. If you see, phobia is like a dark room, okay? And if you don't talk to your patients, they are going to be in the dark room. If you explain everything and you say, this is how I always do it, this is the way we do it, and you keep on explaining and constantly talking, you relax them. They relax and they can understand that. So communication is like turning on the light. And if they understand what you know, if you share your fears and your doubts with them, they'll have no fear. And, you know, I would much prefer to do 8 treatments on one patient than 1 treatment per 8 patients. Because you come out of university almost focused on you know, doing 1 treatment on as many people a day as possible. Why not carefully plan with a guy that needs like all these fillings, just do everything in one day? What's it to you? You're still doing fillings, but it's just 1 patient, and patients understand that. And in the world we live in, which is, you know, and I say, don't do it fast, but a lot of business people and people with money, they want to get as much done as possible in the smallest amount of time. Let's go party.
Yep. Another big applause for Dr. Stanley. We can say bye to the live streamers because we have another people.
Oh, they're still there. Thank you very much for following. I'd like to thank DentiPro as well. I'd like to thank everybody at IADS. Follow me at Dr. Miguel Stanley on Facebook and Dr. Miguel Stanley on Instagram.
Don't forget to do that.
Be part of a bigger game.
Goodbye.